sword, swoosh, swoosh. Seriously, though?
Okay.
Seriously, though?
No, hang on.
Seriously, though? This freaking episode?
Yeah?
Seriously, though?
I can't tell. I can't tell what you,
though.
if this is positive or negative.
Seriously, though.
Here's the thing. You ready for the thing?
I'm ready for the thing. Are you ready for the thing?
All right. Here's the thing. If you were to ask me right now, was this episode or a winner or a fail?
Was this episode a winner or a fail?
I'm not sure what I would tell you.
You're not sure.
And I'm hoping to arrive at a conclusion during the course of this episode. I really want to love this episode. I want to love it so bad. But I'm not sure that I do.
Yeah. So this episode, this episode was written and directed by Dave Filoni.
Hello and welcome to the Movie Men Podcast.
That's Brady. We're the B team, and that's Brady.
My gosh, what did you just do?
I try to keep things fresh.
Offensive. My name's Brady.
I said that already.
And my forgetful co-host, who's just breaking all kinds of tradition because he doesn't care. And that's Carl. And we're here reviewing episode 5 of season 1 of Ahsoka, titled Shadow Warrior. Okay, now go ahead.
Yeah, so written and directed by Dave Filoni, and it reeks of it. So if you like Dave Filoni and what he does, this is awesome. Yeah. And if you're on the fence, then you're on the fence, and if you hate him, then maybe you don't like this so much.
Because again, like I've voiced, I'm worried about Dave Filoni's movie coming. Right? He's got he's directing the film that's supposed to wrap everything up. Yeah.
So, yeah, and prefacing this whole show that Dave Filoni's fingers are literally all this show is. It is riddled with subtext that unless you have watched Clone Wars, unless you have watched Rebels, unless
specifically Clone Wars,
unless you are watching this with like an eagled eye, or you're missing so much.
All right, so let's dive in.
Yeah, man. I watched it with an eagle eye and caught a lot of stuff, but then watching some of the breakdown videos that kind of really watch these shows in like slow motion and like tell you what all the Arabic lettering says and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. I dig that stuff. There's a lot I missed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's so crazy.
So the episode starts out and Hera is she's landed now. They've done their sort of aerial shenanigans. And they've landed on the planet at the same site where we just had the showdown, where Ahsoka was pushed off the cliff by Baylan, and Sabine kind of made a little bit of a bonehead move.
She made a choice.
Handed the apple of Eden, over to Baylan. Baylan destroyed the apple and was like, all right, let's get this show on the road. Let's blow this popsicle stand. And so that's what they did. So Hera's now landed, and she's kind of scoping things out, trying to figure out where'd everybody go. And she doesn't find anyone except for Huyang, who is kind of, I don't know, at Lover's Leap or something. He's like hanging at the edge of the cliff. And holding on to Sabine's Mandalorian helmet and kind of, in this like weird "I told you so" kind of line, is like, they should have stayed together. I told them, but they never listen. And basically just says like, look, tells Hera, everybody's gone. They're gone. They're not here. Ahsoka's fell to her death or whatever. And Sabine is not here either. Then we get our title card. It's a title card. Is what it is. And then we get to the World Between Worlds. Is that what it is? That
yes.
The title? Okay,
that
World Between Worlds.
Referred to as, yeah.
And to a scenario where last time we simply had a bunch of speculation, right? What is going on? Is Ahsoka dead? Is she not dead? Is this Anakin post Return of the Jedi? Is this dead Anakin who's now one with the Force? Is this something else? Like we had theories, but ultimately we didn't really have confirmation for much of anything. And we sort of get some clearer answers here. This is definitely post Return of the Jedi Anakin. This is dead Anakin. And we know that because he goes to, as he says, I'm going to train you. She's like, I'm a little old for that. He's like, you're never too old to learn. And then she's like, okay, well, what is the lesson? And he pulls out his lightsaber and he says, live or die. And she's like, I'm not going to fight you. And he says, I've heard that before. And that, of course, is a reference to his son, Luke, in the Emperor's throne room, turning off his lightsaber and tossing it aside. Right? Yeah. So that is confirmation. This is post-Vader, post-everything. This is dead Anakin.
This is Anakin one with the Force, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
there are some other references. There are some other points throughout the film which indicate that, this is definitely Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Later on where he says, and we'll get to that. Also, we don't get super direct confirmation, but it's kind of hinted at that, like, if Ahsoka's not actually dead, she's as dead as she can get without actually being dead. Right? Yeah. She's like in purgatory. She's basically dead.
What happens in the next few minutes will decide her fate.
Yes, because she says, what happened? And he says, you were in a fight and you lost. And she's like, well, I don't remember that. I don't remember anything. And he's like, trust me, you lost. And so that is to me is reminiscent of any time that someone in a movie dies or they're a ghost or whatever. And they're like, oh, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you didn't survive the accident. Trust me. Like you're dead. And so she gets out her lightsabers simply because he's swinging at her, right? Like this is it's going down. It's going to happen. And so in an act of self-defense, she gets her lightsabers out. Now back on shore, back in the land of the living, Hera, Huyang, and Hera's bouncing baby boy, what's his name? Jason?
Yeah.
Are all sort of bumming it on the edge. And then Carson, a character who I have voiced, I'm kind of sick of. And you're like, oh, I love this dude. I'm just like, this episode just made me double down on like, okay, guy, like, get lost. Because he's just, he's so whiny here. He's just like, we got to check in. It's time to go. It's time to go. Okay, we got to go. General. Hello, General. General, it's time to go. General. And it's like, what happened to this devil may care attitude from before you guys made the jump to where you guys are now? Right? Where he's like, this is a bad idea, but I'm with you 100%. And now he's like, just irritating.
Yeah.
He annoyed me so much.
I didn't read it as whiny. Like, a concern. There was concern there. Like,
yeah, but your general has told you don't worry about it.
Like, he's a person who's got no experience with Force users. Seeing that well, they're gone. There's nothing we can do. Let's hightail it back to the fleet before we get in more trouble than we already are. And he's just trying to, like, I never read it as whiny. I read it as more of a concern and like not understanding that more could be at play here.
Well, it's a whiny concern. And so then, and basically the gist of this moment is they're all kind of standing there. Everyone's of the opinion that, okay, there's nothing else to be done here. Everyone's gone. Let's pack up and get out of here, except for Jason. Jason is kind of not paying attention to the squabbling between Hera and whiny Carson. And he's just focused on the ocean and the waves that are crashing. And he keeps saying, like, and it takes him a couple of attempts to, like, really get his mom's attention here, to get her to really stop and pay attention to him. But he's like, Mom, there's something out there. And she's like, oh, no, like, Chopper would have picked it up on his scanners if there was something out there. And he's like, no. Like, listen, I can feel it. There's something out there. And so she stops. And I don't know how, like, it. Okay, confusing question number 1. Jason can hear the lightsaber clashes from Ahsoka and Anakin dueling it out in the world between worlds. And presumably, the way that this is, and Hu Yang kind of confirms this, Jason is able to do so because Jason's father was a Jedi. Kanan was a Jedi. And so Jason also has abilities. How in blue blazes does Hera hear it? Is she also force sensitive now? Has she always been? Is that something from Rebels that I'm missing? Why is she able to just kind of calm herself and also hear the lightsaber fights that are happening between two basically dead people in the world between worlds?
Yeah, I don't know.
Poor writing.
I think maybe she doesn't hear them. Maybe what we're really vying from this is that what we should really be taking away from this is that she's just trusting that Jason.
There's a moment where she makes a face,
act like
where she's like, where all of a sudden she's like, right, like she can hear it too.
It could be that because Jason's her son, and that Jason is able to impart to her because she's stopped and decided to focus. Jason, she's opened herself up to the possibility, which has given Jason kind of the ability to impart what he's hearing, just because of that kind of mother-son bond. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like
this is one of those. This is one of those scenes. I mean, if you want to get nitpicky, we gotta.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Then we have to theorize, right? And theory craft, because this is one of those things that on the written page, if this were written out as a book, it would specifically say Jason does this, or she's able to, you know what I mean? Like, because all throughout Rebels, she doesn't have force abilities. She's just an excellent pilot. Right. But like, this show is also showing us that, everybody is force capable. Sabine Wren, who's the worst potential Jedi of any potential Jedi, according to Hu Yang, was able to pull off a force push, even though it was more like a force poke.
Okay. Right.
So everybody has the potential to use the force. We were shown that last episode. And this whole show is kind of with Ahsoka and Sabine is kind of showing us that. So you could simply point to that, right? Like, this is the subtext we're talking about, right? Like, is the subtext here that, again, if somebody stops and concentrates hard enough, they can use the force, or is the subtext here that there's a bond between Jason and her mom, and because she stopped and opened herself up to what Jason is pointing at, Jason's kind of subconsciously is able to share with her what he's hearing. I would lean, if you're theory crafting, which is the only thing we can do here, I would lean to the latter. I would be interested to hear what our director and leader of this show would have to say on the matter. But
okay,
he has
but
not said so yet.
Regardless, it probably could have used clearer explanation and or have just not had her hear it. And like, it could have been a really powerful moment if it was just like, yeah, we need to trust Jason on this. Yeah. So I don't know.
I never gave it a second thought. And most of the breakdown videos haven't. The other possibility is just that the world between whatever veil is separating the world between worlds and reality is kind of, if you think of it like a veil, it's thin enough here that if one does, even just a normal person were to stop and listen, they would hear a lightsaber crashing over the waves.
See, and that feels like maybe less of a reach to me. Like that, I'm like, okay, I can, all right, I can get on board with that. That maybe makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That might even be the strongest possibility too, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So then we cut back to to Anakin and Ahsoka. And they're just kind of dueling it out. They're not really saying anything. They're just kind of, a little bit of like, here's the thing. I think the measuring stick that a lot of people for a long time now have been using to measure the quality and the excitement of lightsaber fights has been the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight. But here's the thing. I don't think we may ever again see a fight in Star Wars that's that intense. And I don't necessarily think that we should, because you have to look at the context of that fight and why it was so intense, right? That this was one of the most powerful Force users of all time, fighting against a very established Jedi Master who, and it's a battle of passion. It's a battle of love and hate and like, all these things. So don't use that as your measuring stick, because I think you're going to shoot yourself every time. But this does feel like some prequel era lightsaber choreography.
Yeah, it's good.
Right? Certainly more so than the original trilogy, and even more so than like the lightsaber fighting, admittedly, throughout most of the sequel series was a major step back from, part of that was there was always someone in those lightsaber fights who wasn't really trained and didn't really know how to use a lightsaber. And that opened so many other questions of like, well, how were they even able to hold their own and stuff like that. But it's a great lightsaber fight. Then Ahsoka gets a good, not with her lightsaber, but, gets a good hit on Anakin. Kind of smokes him across the face. And yeah, like big roundhouse kick. And he kind of smiles, like he admires that, right? Like he's like, oh, that was like, good job. Yeah. Like, good kick. It didn't hurt. I'm dead, but yeah, good kick. And she's like, oh, it looks like maybe you don't have anything to teach me after all. And he's like, well, I haven't taught you everything yet. And he slices the Bifrost from beneath her and sends her hurling through smoke and fog and clouds and whatever else. She hits the ground. And we zoom in to find that it's still Ahsoka. But it is beginning of the Clone Wars Ahsoka. Young preteen Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Played by the same girl who played little child Gamora in Infinity War. Did you know that?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, same actress. Cool. So that was cool. And we see, for the first time ever, the live action version of Clone Wars era Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
The hair is that in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, something that we saw in Clone Wars but never saw in any of the movies.
Yeah, that weird shoulder plate.
And he's got the armor.
Yeah. It's very, yeah. And it looks good.
Great. Yeah. It looks great. Like, I had, starting with Luke showing up at the end of Mandalorian and a couple of times since, I had lost faith in Disney's de-aging deepfake kind of tech. I was like, someone's sleeping over there. Someone's doing this on an iPhone app when they should actually be doing this, properly.
Even the Obi-Wan series de-aging of Anakin
looked rough,
little weird. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was as bad as the Luke, but it was definitely a little off.
But this looked great.
Yeah.
Like this, not once did I look at this and go, no, something's wrong here. Like they just removed all of Hayden Christensen's like wrinkles and age lines and whatever, and he looks flipping great. He looks and sounds like Anakin Skywalker, and this is amazing. And it feels like Ahsoka. She's inquisitive. She's strong personality. She's asserting her opinions. She's not following orders blindly.
Yeah. The actress did a great job of portraying a young Ahsoka.
Yes. So good.
I have one beef.
Okay.
Just it's pretty minor, but kind of intrinsic to the character. Her lightsaber grip is all wrong.
Is it really?
Yeah. She reverse grips that lightsaber like 90% of the time in the Clone Wars.
But right from the get?
Yeah.
Does she really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's why
I knew that was an Ahsoka thing. When she gets two
lightsabers, like she'll reverse grip one and normal grip the other. But yet but that's from
Yeah. I just didn't know if she did like right from the beginning of Clone Wars. But yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if she did, then she did, and which is in ways it's weird, right? So that's a weird thing because I'm like, come on, man. Like if Dave Filoni is really the reins behind this episode, you would think that's something he would be all over.
Yeah.
Right? Ahsoka's his character.
Yeah. So it was a little minor misstep. He's Dave Filoni's not a saint. He's not perfect. So it's a transgression I'll forgive because there are times she does take a normal stance and grip on the saber, but
right. But we see clones, and that's cool too. It's like a Clone Wars era live action scene, and it looks and feels great. And then there's something to me that happens that's very janky. Very janky. Because we kind of get through that battle and we see sort of like a triage area, right? Where there's a bunch of wounded troopers and people are getting loaded onto transports and we're kind of regrouping so we can head out and we're kind of figuring out the battle plan. We're going to head on. And we get to see Ahsoka's compassion here. We get to see that, just some faceless, nameless clone, and she's sitting there and she's holding his hand to give him comfort while Anakin is very battle oriented and is talking about, I've had to train you to be a soldier and all these things. And it's so funny to me that, and I can never pronounce his name, first name, Temuera
Morrison.
Tamora? Is that how it's pronounced?
I'm pretty sure it's Tamora, yeah.
Okay, Temuera Morrison, who obviously either didn't want to be involved or they couldn't pay him or they couldn't, whatever it is, because inexplicably, regardless of your wounds, we see several clone troopers that have bandaged faces, just completely bandaged, so that we're careful not to show any faces because we couldn't get Tamora Morrison
Did not pick up
in
on
here.
that.
Oh my gosh! Because I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see, like, I'm like, oh, are we going to see Rex? Are we going to see Rex without his helmet on? Are we going to see, like, what's going to go on here?
We do see
Commander
Rex,
Cody?
but we don't see him without his helmet.
Without his helmet on, yeah, because he's got all the blue on him, right?
Yeah.
And so it's cool. But also, I'm just like, okay, like, then why not just have all their helmets on? That seems like a much easier thing than just putting a wet cloth over the face of every trooper. Every trooper has that on their face. So it is what it is. Obviously, Morrison was not involved in this episode at all. Yeah, Ahsoka kind of questions Anakin, like, hey, like, who did all this killing and shit? Does that not upset you? And he's like, well, of course it upsets me. And she's like, this is not what I was trained for. And he's like, you have to adapt to the times, right? When Obi-Wan was training me, we were keepers of the peace, and now we're in a war, and I have to train you to be a soldier. Which it's a fun dialogue, fun conversation.
Yeah, it's very important to this journey we're taking, which, like, I didn't realize it till I started watching some breakdowns, and then afterwards looked at some interviews with Dave Filoni. But Dave Filoni's vision for Ahsoka in this series is he wants it to mirror Gandalf's.
As in, like, returning as Gandalf the White, having died as Gandalf the Grey.
So he as Gandalf. So Gandalf the Grey, we had lived a certain life, and then he went through a struggle and a change, and came back as Gandalf the White, who same person but kind of a little bit different, a little bit more stoic, a little bit more powerful, well, a lot more powerful. You know what I mean? So, and kind of assured of himself and his abilities.
Right.
So this series so far, and even like kind of color palette choices for the character, like Ahsoka's been wearing all grays up to this point.
Right.
After this, she starts wearing white. Right. And he's kind of crafted her journey. Like, this is her Balrog fight.
Right.
This is her shaping of her, the turning point of her character, and a big shaping point. So this conversation is also speaking to kind of the struggle she's having about, like, last episode, she was taunted about she's part of a lineage of destruction. And like that's what she has to live up to. Right? Like, you're just going to destroy, you know what I mean? So he's kind of crafting, this is like her coming, this whole episode is her, or first half of this episode is her coming to terms with not being able to save her master from being this destructive force, and accepting that, and the training that he gave, but who she knew him as still meant something and is still important, and Darth Vader didn't destroy that.
Right.
Darth Vader is a completely separate thing.
See, and that's interesting. Yeah, and then he walks away from her here into the fog, and we see a flash where his lightsaber turns red and his silhouette becomes Vader's. And so you were saying that, like, yeah, you didn't pick up on that or realize that until you watched this other stuff.
Yeah, the not like the kind of the conflict that she's having, I picked up on that. The how Dave Filoni was kind of mirroring Gandalf's journey here, I didn't.
Right.
I didn't
Okay.
pick up the color palette change in the clothing and stuff like that. But yeah, like, this is her coming to terms with that. Like, Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person, but one doesn't destroy who the other is. Right? Like, just because Darth Vader's a horrible person doesn't undo the Anakin that I knew.
Right. See, okay,
And the good
and
that he did.
that's interesting, and it's maybe you're sort of saving this episode for me, because basically, like, I'll tell you a big part of my issue. Visually and fan service wise, this episode's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
But also, it after I watched it, I kind of felt like that's all it was incredible fan service.
It was eye candy. Yeah.
Was eye candy. Because I'm like, it takes 30 minutes of this episode for us to get through this Ahsoka Anakin lesson.
Yeah.
And when that ended, I was kind of like, so what was the point of that, though?
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's all this subtext that if you don't cause I picked up that she's struggling to accept Anakin for who he was and is. That's what I picked up. But then there's like a whole bunch of other subtext there that I didn't really realize until I dove into it in a breakdown video. And other people who are kind of like, they're doing it as their full-time job, breaking this stuff down and picking it apart. I'm like, oh man, there's way more to this first 20 minutes than I even realized. And I picked out quite a bit, I feel. I missed a lot.
Okay, but then ultimately I'm still in the camp of like, okay, so then I understand what's being said here and I understand what they're trying to do. But what does this lesson and what does this conflict and what does this realization for Ahsoka, even though it's poorly explained within the episode without getting into a breakdown video, and
cinematically, I don't think it's super great because it requires so much
other
content
viewing.
Consumption prior to.
But and then ultimately
if you've
at the
consumed
end,
that content, it's amazing.
Right, but then ultimately at the end, like, it's still just fan service filler. Because when all this ends, I'm like, well, but what does this have to do with the storyline? What does this have to do with the Ezra Thrawn, Baylan, Morgan Elsbeth? It has nothing.
It doesn't have anything to do with that, but it's important for Ahsoka's character development. Because Sabine has made a choice the same way Anakin has made a choice.
If they pay it off,
and I think they will to a degree, because like Sabine made a choice to go with the bad guys. Anakin made a choice to go with the bad guys, right?
Right. Okay.
Ahsoka doesn't know that yet, but by the end of the episode, she realizes it. If she was hanging on by her fingertips on the cliff and Sabine buggered off and she got up and she did her force thing and realized Sabine made a choice, her choices from then on would probably, if she didn't go through this character journey, would probably be completely different from what she's going to do now. Okay. Right. This is like, I think this is crucial character development. The same way it was important for Gandalf to be reborn into Gandalf the White, this journey's important to Ahsoka to kind of be reborn as Ahsoka the White. Okay.
Yeah. It's starting to. Yeah.
It has to do it through a lot of subtext, more subtext than it should have, but it's a lot of show don't tell. But the unfortunate side is the showy part of it that you need to pick up on, you don't pick up on unless you've consumed everything Ahsoka based prior.
Okay. All right.
Right. Which I don't think is great cinema. It's great for Filoni because and people who love everything he's made.
Well, because he's just playing around in his own sandbox. But if people haven't seen everything else in his sandbox, which is a big issue, it's the same complaint that we've had notoriously about the MCU. See, MCU used to be a jump in, like every film was a valid jump in point. And now
Almost,
it's not.
Yeah.
So then we jump back to our what I'm going to say is the B storyline here. And they're doing all kinds of scanning. They're scanning the waters based on Jason's craziness. And here is all of a sudden Jedi abilities. And they're scanning around. And they can't find anything. And Carson, the little whiny baby, is like, how much longer are we going to do this, General? There's nothing out here. This is stupid.
I think you got to put yourself in his shoes in this moment.
I'm regretting coming with you. This is stupid.
It seems like a pretty lost cause to be wasting gas.
And then all of a sudden, Chopper displays his inherent Jedi abilities because now, okay, which is the biggest, stupidest, like, whatever. I guess he detects, no, I guess not, because I guess what he's detecting is Ahsoka's physical body.
Yeah.
Right? He's detecting the physical body. He's not detecting her life force out there somewhere. Okay. All right. So I take that back. The Chopper's like, oh, there's something in the water. But you got to get low. Because apparently these ships have, like, I don't know, like a 30-meter range on their scanners. Whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
Stupid. And
I don't know how that works.
so dumb. And so anyways, they're like, oh, fly lower. And it's like, okay, fly lower. And the ever pessimist Hu Yang is like, oh boy, here we go. All right. You know, like, it's just, he complains a lot, but it's funny when he complains. So I'm willing to let that go. They fly lower.
I think there's a funny scene here just a little bit before that, though. Is it a little bit before? Maybe a little bit before that.
Which is...
Or maybe it's after. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Where she's asking Hu Yang, like, is there a chance they're even alive? Like, where are they? Do you know where they are? Are they somewhere? Where is she? Do you know? And she's like, he's just like, there's a chance they're alive. Doesn't really know it. And she's like, really? Do you sorry, the phrasing is really funny here. I want to get it right. Is there a chance they're alive? Always, especially with Lady Tano. He's just like, Lady Tano is this maverick that gets out of everything.
Yeah. So then we cut back to the Force story, the A storyline here, Ahsoka. And it's a couple years later in Visions now, so because we have like a much closer to, you know, basically I would say this could be weeks before Revenge of the Sith at this point.
This is just before Revenge. This is the battle for Mandalore. You can tell by her lightsabers and her outfit. This is where
she even mentions
the last season of the last few episode or two of the last season of Clone Wars takes place.
Because Anakin says, "I don't recognize this battle."
Yeah, and that's why Anakin doesn't recognize it, because Anakin is on Coruscant.
Yeah. But also, I was kind of like, dude, the Clone Wars lasted 3 years. Like, there was a lot of I would assume there's battles you were at that you wouldn't necessarily recognize, my friend.
Yeah,
like,
but not that she was at.
No, yeah,
right. So he doesn't recognize it because, and for those that haven't watched the Clone Wars, there's like a really fun thing where like this was actually supposed to be a trap for him, like Darth Maul, who Ahsoka Tano's going after. Darth Maul was trying to get Anakin here so that he could so actually it's kind of important to this because in that last episode or two of Clone Wars, Maul reveals everything to Ahsoka Tano. Maul reveals that who the Sith Lord is, and what his plans are, and that Anakin is in the center of those plans for him.
Yes.
And Ahsoka has to make a choice because Maul says, come with me to Coruscant and we'll stop it.
Right.
Or so she has to make a choice. She made a choice to stop Maul instead of saving her master from a potential downfall.
Right.
And this is one of where kind of the crux of this struggle personal struggle and journey she's having is coming from.
Did she make the right call? Yeah.
Did she make the right call? Could she have stopped Anakin if she went back? Could she have saved Anakin? The fate of Vader.
Yeah. We get to see some pretty badass lightsaber work from Ahsoka here.
She's so good.
I will say at this point, she should be holding it reverse grip. For sure at this point.
One of them. Yeah.
One of them. Yeah. Because now she has the two, and they're not reverse grip, and one of them should be. So that is for sure an issue. We do see, I don't know if you noticed, but the Mandalorian armor with the Darth Maul horns.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a fun callback.
Darth Maul's desk quads. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun callback. So she's kicking all kinds of ass. She's really like just gymnasticsing around. Feels very Clone Wars.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
So good. I just want a Clone Wars movie, a live action Clone Wars movie. So they have a conversation, and he says, "I don't remember this," and she's like, "Oh, this was the fight for Mandalore," and by this point, we had parted ways. Right? She had left the Jedi, Order at this point.
Yeah,
which is crazy because you don't realize in the show, and this kind of puts into perspective, and like, yes, it's consistent with timelines and stuff. But she was young.
Yeah.
She's young when she leaves.
Yeah.
She leaves the Jedi Order and goes out on her own and stuff like that.
She'd be 19 or 20 at this point in time.
Oh, I think she's maybe even younger than that.
I don't know if she's that much. I wouldn't peg her any younger than 18 at this point in the Clone Wars.
Right. So then she has a conversation. She continues her conversation with Anakin, and she kind of throws a little bit of shade at him.
Well, and this is shade at him, but it's also kind of she's biting at herself because of that choice we just talked about, right? Like more powerful and dangerous than anyone realizes. And then she makes the comment.
Yeah. So, well, you're racing through it here. So she's talking about how her legacy is.
Oh, that comes before. Yeah.
Yeah. She's talking about how her legacy is one of death and destruction because that's what she was just told. And he says, well, as my apprentice, your legacy is also like a part of you. A part of me is inside a part of you because of me training you. And so your legacy, you are more than that. You are more than death and destruction because I am more than that.
Yeah. And she's saying that because she feels like that death and destruction is partially her fault because she chose to stop Maul.
Right. And so he says, I'm more than that. And she says, you are more than that, Anakin, but also more powerful and dangerous than anyone realized. And this is the other moment that you were talking about where we get that indicator that this is post-Vader Anakin, because he says, oh, is that what this is about? Right? Like, oh, we're gonna talk about my Vader years, are we? The one thing that I do wish from this whole interaction is that we got a little bit more of that. That we got a little bit more of Anakin acknowledging the time between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. Do you know what I mean? Like just a little more. Like this whole thing is already super fan servicey. Yeah. But I would have liked a reference about like, you know, like if he had somehow referenced Luke or something.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka knows Luke.
Yeah. I hear you. But I think I can understand the choice to leave it out because it doesn't really pertain to Ahsoka's journey here. Like, what does Luke have to do with Ahsoka's journey here?
Well, there could have been something in there about how Luke, because Luke is his blood, and
like an off comment. Does that mean that Luke's because legacy is going to be the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. Right, like something like that. Like that. But anyways, and so then Anakin gets a little pissy here, and he takes out his lightsaber again, but this time his lightsaber is red. And when he turns around, he's got the must be painful to wear yellow and red Sith eye contacts.
Not yellow. I didn't pick this up. This is something that was pointed out in the breakdown video I watched. They're just red. There's a close-up later where they're just red eyes.
Oh, and really?
On Mustafar, they're more of like an orange yellow.
Yeah.
And they were kind of pointing out that they used, we've talked about them before. If you've been following along, you know about the daughter and the son and the father, who are kind of the Trinity spirits of the Force, the embodiments of the Force. The daughter's the embodiment of the light side. The son's the embodiment of the dark side. The father is the balance between
them. So are these the eyes that the brother had?
The brother had red eyes in the Clone Wars TV show. So this is and the way he effortlessly kind of switches from being light side Anakin to dark side Anakin here, and then later he'll switch back effortlessly, kind of shows that that he has found a balance in the Force here in the afterlife, and that he's kind of taken the place of the father almost now, of being the balance of the Force, effortlessly switching between both as needed.
So this
still
plot
in full control.
This plot thickens and it actually goes a little bit deeper, because I'm looking at a close up of him right now where they're back on the Bifrost. They're back in the world between worlds.
Yeah, just a little bit further ahead.
And it's a close up, and he's actually clearly got two different eyes.
Really?
His right eye, his left eye, if you're looking at him, is all red. His left eye, right, if you're looking at him, is the red with the yellow in it. It's clearly got yellow in it. There's a yellow ring. So he's got two different eyes. Either that or the all red one is also got yellow in it, and it's just because there's a red lightsaber inches away from his face that it's discoloring it. But the shot I'm looking at clearly has a yellow ring around his pupil.
I'm looking at, I think, the same one. Maybe you're right.
So, I don't know. Hard to say. Could be two different eyes there. Could be...
They seem a lot redder, though, either way.
Yes, redder than usual. Yeah. And then they kind of kiss and make up, and his eyes turn back to normal. And he just kind of disappears. He Batmans her. She turns around. He's no longer there.
I don't know if I agree with this theory. I seen something on Facebook theorizing that Ahsoka goes dark side for a second here. So that shot I think you're looking at, that's right around like the 25-20 mark. If you go just a little bit further, when Ahsoka's holding the red, takes his lightsaber, and she like comes in and grimaces at him, her eyes go yellow too. It almost looks like.
I think it's
so I think that's more just the red of the lightsaber glowing in her eyes than what this guy theories. Like her little flirt with the dark side before choosing the light. But yeah. I thought it was kind of an interesting.
I think that's just I just saw it. I think that's just the red glow.
Yeah.
In her eyes
from the lightsaber. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is kind of marks like the triumphant end of her journey, though, where she kind of makes kind of a similar choice that Luke makes, right? Like, I'm going to choose to be what you trained me to be. In this case, in her case, it's not. She makes it for different reasons than Luke makes it, because she's choosing to be the person that Luke trained her to be, or Anakin trained her to be. Luke's choosing to do it because he's not going to kill his father, and it's not the Jedi way, which is kind of what Anakin trained Ahsoka to be, right? Be a Jedi. But also she's accepting here that like Anakin is Darth Vader. He is the Anakin she knew, but the destruction of Darth Vader doesn't ruin the life and of Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No. 100%. So then Anakin disappears, and we come back to, like, all of a sudden water starts creeping up to sort of indicate that Ahsoka is returning to her second chance. Kind of
a baptism of her trial and melding back into the water where she's currently is. And there's a bunch of subtext here as well. And we discover that somehow, because Ahsoka has gills that we didn't know about, she's still alive despite having been underwater for extended periods of time. They pick her up on the Force. They pick her up on the scanners and they bring her in. There's this kind of cool rescue shot sequence that we get. And then she gets back up. She's hanging out with everyone, and she picks up one of the broken shards of the Apple of Eden and is able to use her sense the memories in the Force kind of Jedi Fallen Order thing. Yeah, we've seen her do this a few times already this episode.
Yeah, to read the memories associated with it. And that's how she discovers that Sabine made a shitty call.
Yeah, and this is, so like that Gandalf journey she's on, she's not fully dressed in white yet. And this is, again, something that I didn't pick because I didn't realize the Gandalf thing till I watched the videos.
She's just got a white poncho.
She's just got a white shawl, but she's still wearing gray. So until she realizes Sabine's choice and then makes her own choice what to do with it, that kind of transformation isn't complete.
Yeah,
is kind of what I guess the subtext here is supposed to be.
And so they make the decision, well, we got to go after them. We're not entirely sure how the hell we're going to do that, but we're going to go after them. Hera's back on her ship, and she's having a little communique with Mon Mothma, who is displeased that Hera, despite being a general in the army, seems to have 0 rank and has to run everything through some upper council. And so, even just to go check, it's not like they were going and invading or, initiating an attack.
They're not going to start a war.
No, I'm just going to go follow up on a lead. I just want to go check something out. No, sorry. You're a general, but that doesn't mean anything. And so Mon Mothma says, okay, well, so, you went anyways. So what evidence did you find? Do you have evidence of this? And Hera says, no. Well, do you have evidence of that? And Hera says, no. Well, what do you have evidence of? Well, I guess nothing. But we would now like to make a jump to another galaxy to basically pursue this further and try to get Sabine back. And Mon Mothma is like, guess what? No. I'm sending a fleet to come and retrieve you all and bring you back, and you're gonna have to come in for I don't know so much questioning, but debriefing, right? We're grounding you basically. You're gonna come back here, and that is what it is. And so they take off, And Ahsoka gets a little bit of a very Ahsoka-y idea, right?
Yeah.
Chaotic, reckless. Who knows whether this is going to work or not? But
Takes
she
a
gets
lot
an
of
idea.
faith.
Yep. And that decision is that, you know what? The Purgle, the space whales, the hyperspace whales, I'm sure they know where to go. And they probably know where Ezra and Thrawn and Sabine now are. So let's go talk to them.
Yeah. Well, they must know because they're what took Ezra and Thrawn to wherever they are now.
Right. And so she hops up outside the ship and is standing on the ship talking to a giant space whale. And this whole time I was just waiting for us. All I could picture was Ahsoka talking like Dory does in Finding Nemo when she's speaking whale. My friend, right?
Yeah.
Didn't happen. A little disappointing. But it is what it is. And Carson is sent out to... So basically, they decide, hey, you know what? This is going to work. This is going to work. We're going to do this. And we're going to... While Carson is sent out to stall the fleet, because the worry is that if the fleet comes into land, they're going to scare off the space whales, and then we're going to miss our opportunity here. And so Carson's sent out, and Carson is getting court-martialed at this point. Like, Carson's career is over. Completely his career is over.
Yeah.
Which is good. And, because I don't like him. And
that's too bad.
the decision is made, okay, these guys are going to take us where we need to go. And I guess the only real way of doing that is to Pinocchio ourselves and hop inside of them.
Find the biggest one. And
which again is something that happens in Finding Nemo, where they're like hitching a ride in the mouth of the whales. So this is just like a Finding Nemo ripoff, Disney. And I'm going to ignore the nitpicky fact. I am going to choose to believe that there is some sort of space magic, whale force magic that prevented Ahsoka and Hera from blasting out the back of the whale when the whale made the jump to hyperspace.
You have a problem with that?
I just thought, like, it bold of them to assume that they would also be transported at that speed. But
okay, I mean, that's very nitpicky.
It is, which is why I said I'm ignoring it. And I'm not going to
It seems very nitpicky because it seems pretty logical that wouldn't happen to me.
Okay.
Because by that logic, the guts of the whale would be left behind when they jump to hyperspace. By that logic, anything that's in a ship, anything that's inside the ship when you jump to hyperspace would rip out the back of the ship.
I will give you the ship one. The guts are a reach because the guts are a part of the whale. But I give you the ship one. I give you the ship one completely hands down. So they get in and the whales make the jump. There's a really great moment where they're just advised, the fleet is advised, you might want to get out of the way.
You give Carson a hard time, but before this point, when he's like trying to stall them, that's pretty fun.
Oh, he's badass in this moment.
Like, tell me where they are.
He's playing stupid.
I can't. Why can't you tell me? Classified. Can't.
What? And
tell me where you're court-martialed. Sorry, can't. Classified.
Well, and he's also trying to get them to identify. He knows who they are, but he's like, sorry, could you please send me, like, I need to make sure you are who you claim you are. It's like, no, so that part's great. He's wishy-washy. He goes back and forth between, whatever. So they hop in the mouth, and the fleet is advised to get the hell out of the way. And Hu Yang asks Ahsoka, so how do you know that this is gonna work? And Ahsoka says, "Oh, I don't." And he's like, "Well, where are we going then?" And she's like, "I don't know, but somewhere is better than nowhere." It was like, okay. Yeah. And Hu Yang is just like, oh my God. Like he's regretting all of his decisions as well. Yeah, they're advised to get the hell out of the way, and they do so because at this point the fleet realizes, well, like there's nothing we can do. Like we're going to stop these whales. It's too late. And they make the jump to hyperspace. And so this is where this is the struggle that I was having, because I felt like prior to sitting and talking to you, I felt like the whole Anakin Ahsoka stuff was, it feels like a filler episode. It's the first episode that's felt like a filler episode. And the Anakin and Ahsoka stuff felt like filler fan service. Great fan service, but filler fan service that, because we haven't seen a payoff yet, like I don't really know whether or not, whether or not it's actually going to make a big difference or not. It seems like maybe it will. You've given me more faith in that, although it's still, a complaint of mine would still be, well, I shouldn't have had to have you tell me about this breakdown video and about Dave Filoni's interview in order for me to have found value in those sequences.
I agree.
And also, I don't know where I sit on whether or not this whole hitching a ride in the mouth of a whale thing is tacky or not. If it's just kind of like, well, that's convenient. Like, well, the writers were sitting there thinking, well, shit, we got to find some semi-believable way to get all of these characters in the same space together so that they can have a confrontation and whatever. Well, what do we do? Well, we could stick them in the mouth of the whale and the whale could, right? Like, I don't know. I just like, I felt like this episode, like Ahsoka communicating with the whales and then, sure, come on, hop in, here we go. Like, I felt like it was asking me to suspend a lot of disbelief. And so I think when this episode ended, I was sitting there kind of like, what is even happening? Like, what? Like, it became, and I know it's science fiction, fantasy, whatever, but it just, moments of it felt too fantastical for me. Felt too, like it wasn't, it had just lost all regard for remaining semi-grounded in its plot points and in storytelling. So, yeah. I don't know.
And so this is a Purgle issue again, and I would go back to saying, if you had watched, I said this before, if you had watched Rebels, the Purgle would probably not be an issue for you.
I don't have an issue with
especially this like not light speed so hyperspace travel issue you're having right with this episode, because when Ezra and Thrawn go to this other galaxy, the Purgle do it by like a big Purgle just grabs Thrawn's Star Cruiser and drags it through hyperspace.
Okay, but that's in an animated show. Right? I mean, we've talked about that. We've talked about the difference in believability, right? Because then by that logic, you can't have any complaints about Ahsoka being on the outside of a ship, taking down X-Wings or whatever they were with her lightsaber. That
was more the logic of the pilots not just shooting at the ship and blowing it up instead of shooting it. And it didn't, like I said, that last episode, that didn't ruin the episode for me. It just seemed a little odd. Like, and yes, the suspension of disbelief is easier with an animated show, right? I agree with that. My point is that if you've, and this is kind of the issue of this show, this episode as a whole, if you had consumed that content prior to watching this show, the idea of the Purgle and the idea of them being inside a Purgle traveling through hyperspace would seem less fantastical and easier to suspend your disbelief, because you've already done it.
Yep.
In an animated show. So that leap is less.
I don't disagree. Yep. Okay, Carl, was this episode of Ahsoka a win or a fail for you?
This episode was a win. And then it only got better as I dove kind of further down the rabbit hole, as I usually do. It only just was like, oh crap, this is the context here is way deeper than I realized.
Yeah, which again,
I really enjoyed that.
But
all that being said, and I've said it a bunch of times already, I don't think that made as kind of a viewing experience. I don't think it made the viewing experience better, because for those that haven't consumed everything Ahsoka related, it goes over their heads. So a good viewing experience, it wouldn't go over those individuals' heads, but all that juicy stuff that I'm enjoying diving into would still be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe this is kind of like, you can't have like having your cake and eating it too kind of thing. Like, you can't make a movie for everybody, right? Filoni's choosing to make a movie or a show for the fans of the content he created, is essentially what this show is becoming.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't enjoyed everything Filoni's created, then you're going to miss out, and you're not really the audience he's making this for anyway. He's making it for all Star Wars fans. It's really like, this is a love letter to everyone who's stuck with the content he's created.
Yeah. It's a shame. That's not the way to make Star Wars content, but whatever. It is what it is. Especially when it's like especially when we have no movies coming out or anything right now where like this is Star Wars. Like, this is, it's just, I don't know. It's like, I've never been a fan. It's cool to reference things. It's cool to have connective tissue. It's cool to whatever. But the second you're a big franchise, global franchise content becomes like a membership club, an exclusive kind of, this is more enjoyable, or this is, almost only enjoyable if you've already been subscribed for a long time. Like, yeah. Anyways. This is the part where you ask me.
Yeah, I was kind of, you were just ranting though.
Sorry.
So where do you sit now? Because you were kind of on the fence before by the sound of it.
I'm going to say it's a win, but I think it's a questionable win for me. I think it's a win, but it almost wasn't. Because, yeah, this is the first episode that I've had some real issues with, that I've just been like, I don't know, man. Like, you had so many amazing things packed in there and moments that I was just captivated by. But something about it just didn't come together in the way that I feel like it could have with all those ingredients. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the right ingredients, but it was baked at for the wrong time at the wrong temperature. Right.
It was undercooked
or something. Yeah. Or overcooked, or
too much mint.
You deep fried it instead of baking it, and you should never deep fry cookies. I don't know specifically what it was, but something didn't land quite the way I wanted it to, but it was
somebody's going to make a comment saying that deep fried cookies are amazing.
Probably the best thing ever. Yeah. Who knows? All right. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, all listed below. We have a Patreon page. As little as $1 a month, you can support the show. and get some fun rewards in return. And we have merch.
We got stuff you can put on your body.
Yeah. Or not. You buy like a old department store mannequin or something. Just put it on that. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like once you buy it, I don't really care what you do with it. Don't really care. All right.
Yeah.
Well, until next time when we review episode 6, Far, Far Away.
Keep your hands and feet inside the purgle at all times, people.